Hello everyone. As a product manager, every day you might be getting a lot of business requests from stakeholders to develop new features. Apparently, almost most of them looks very urgent, critical and wanting to be at the same time, right? Have you experienced this thing? Yes, right? This is part and parcel of product manager life. One can imagine how difficult it is to say no to a stakeholders who is so optimistic and strong about their views to develop that feature, right? Today we will see a blueprint or a template what you can use to triage any new feature request to say no to a stakeholder. Let us try to understand this with very simple example. You have got a sales department, they approaches you as a product manager with a business request for developing a customized dashboard for a client which is ready to pay XYZ amount if we deliver that particular feature in 4 weeks. Now you have a question in front of you whether you work on that customized dashboard immediately or you work on a deliverables what you are committed to 80% of the users. First step in entire this process is acknowledging the user who has submitted a feature request. When you acknowledge them, they feel being heard, that someone is really looking after their request, and beside you as a product manager, that is also positive sign that someone is also caring about the user and their needs. Second step in this evaluation process is to understand the real needs of a user. In line with this example, you can always check with the user what exactly is the problem you are trying to solve with this customized dashboard. Who are all the users who will be using this customized dashboard? When do you need this customized dashboard? And why can't the current dashboard solving a need what the user have? Similarly, you can ask few more challenging questions to them to really understand the pain points and the real need of the customized dashboard. So why it is needed? Very often, if not always, whenever someone demands your new feature request, sometimes they just underestimate or overlook the real problem and get tempted to derive to a solution. But as a product manager, it is your duty to really go into the depth of the problem before jumping towards the solution. Now you have understood the problem of the customer in detail. This is the time for you to take a final call. In order to get further into this decision making, you have to see if you develop customized dashboard, will it really align with your near-term and long-term product goals and roadmap. For example, what could be few aspects in your product goals and roadmap? Improve user engagement. Second, improve reliability and security aspect of the product. Third, average revenue earned per customer and improve adoption. Now you have to really think, if I work on the customized dashboard, will it really help me to achieve these 4 roadmaps of the product? Answer seems to be no, right? Now you have to also think, if my current deliverables which are going to go for 80% of the customer base, if I work on those all deliverables, yes, I seems to be getting closer to my product goals and roadmap, which means you will have to say no to develop a customized dashboard to a stakeholder. Here comes the tough part of conveying no. As a product manager, it's not about saying yes to all the requirement, but it is more of saying no to most of the requirement, so that your team can still focuses on a thing which are very important and brings a lot of value for customers and your organization as well. No one really like to understand and listen rejections, right? Unless those are backed by data and facts. In this example, we will see what kind of data insights you can bring onto the table to convey no. In order to have your rejection to be backed by data and facts, I would like to bring 2 data-driven insights while conveying rejection to a stakeholder. First, you can say, I have analyzed customer support forum where end customer comes, votes for a feature what they're strongly looking for. I have observed customized report is the feature that no one really is bothered about and voted for. On the other hand, whatever features currently we are working on that has been strongly asked and requested by a majority of the users, in the coming release. Second, in order to get the more insights from sales and finance, I pulled up some reports from them. I realized if we continue to work and deliver the features which has been strongly asked by customer, we will increase our user adoption by 15%. We will have scalability and reliability factor increase by 38%. The average revenue earned per customer will be increased by 20%. If we consider above both reasons, it is very evident now that if you're going to work on the current features, it is going to create a lot of impact and create big value for all those 80% of the user base, rather than just focusing on a very niche problem for one consumer, which implies we cannot really prioritize the customized report over the current deliverables. However, I'm also open to discuss possible workaround or temporary solution if we can provide to that business user. This is also very important. How do you really convey no or rejection to a business stakeholder in your in-person meetings, right? Your voice should be a cooperative and empathetic enough so that stakeholder doesn't feel that you are outrightly rejecting the idea. When you are spitting out the facts, it should be more logical and convincing for them to understand because of the right reasons you are rejecting the idea and not just outrightly rejecting it. Sometimes I do observe product managers create a placeholder request in their backlog after rejecting a request. The reason is they want to give an impression to a stakeholder that I'm going to revisit this statement after 6 months. But it depends. If you know for sure that you're not going to work on this request anytime in future, then I highly advise do not clutter your backlog with just these kind of features that you're not going to work in any time. And this is also not good, as it is going to break a trust between you and that stakeholder. And as a product manager, building a trust is very pivotal. Quick summary into how you can say no to a business request. First, acknowledge the business request in a positive manner. Second, work onto the problem statement in detail so that you can better compare with the current deliverables. Third, collect the data points and facts what you're going to use to say no so that it sounds more logical and convincing. Fourth, if possible, provide a workaround or temporary trade-off. Fifth, never say and give lofty promises to a business stakeholder that you're going to work on that request after 6 months when you know for sure you're not going to work on that request in any time in future. At the last, I can only say your job as a product manager is not to say yes to all the requests, but saying yes to the right ones, so that your team can still focus on the things which create impact and value for users. If you get benefited in any way out of this video, please do like, share and subscribe it.